forgotten the way that I stand. There's nothing else to compare. The sight of you leaves me weak. There are no words left to speak. But if you feel like I feel, please let me know that it's real. You're just too good to be true. I can't take my eyes off of you. Let's go!
So a little bit more about myself. I came into POWIIS in year 9 in 2013, and I stayed throughout the years, finishing my IGCSEs and A-levels in 2018, before moving back to Singapore to enlist in the army. I was in the army for just over 2.5 years, and I left the service only in March this year. Right now, I'm an undergraduate at NUS in Singapore. So this was me in year 9. I was feeling very smart and my new uniform, and I was very excited for what was to come. So this was my tutor group with Mr. Liu, my tutor. And throughout the years, I was given many platforms to not only represent the school, but also travel overseas. So this picture was taken in Singapore. My friends and I were competing in the World Scholars Cup, which I'm sure some of you are in. We also managed to qualify for the Tournament of Champions held in Boston. And yeah, this was my friends and I in Central Park, New York. That aside, we also had leisure trips. So this was Japan in 2015, hosted by our then head sports, Mr. Street. It was a really fun, about 1.5 weeks trip to Japan, encompassing snowboarding and skiing, and also a lot of sightseeing in Tokyo. I was also a weekly boarder for my entire time in POWIIS, and I would say that it really value added to my whole experience in school, because as a boarder, I felt that the school really transformed from day to night. It doesn't remain a school anymore. Instead, it really becomes like your second home, because after hours, it's a chance for you to explore your own interests and passions. Use the school facilities like the gym or the pool, and also have a really good time with your friends. So for example, in this picture, there's a guitar. Those are my good friends, Robbie and Taufik. And we used to play a lot together. And when we felt like it, we would perform in TLC or even during assembly. So in a boarding house, there are different events for us. So for example, boarding dinners. On the left, this was Halloween night, and on the right, it was just a very fun short dinner to Botanical Mansion with our head of boarding, Mr. Eccles. Fast forwarding to year 12 then, this was taken in Taiping during our qualifying expedition trip for the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. And I remember this trip was very hot, it was very humid, and it was very tiring because we were hiking, knolls after knolls and hours after hours on end. But it was very fulfilling because, again, you get to have a really good time with your friends, and also the views aren't something that you'd find really easily in Malaysia or anywhere else. I also had the chance to represent the school for rugby, and this was taken after our friendly match against Alumnus. And as you can see on the left and right, Mr. Victor and Mr. Vickers, our South African rugby coaches. And of course, what school without the exams and work, right? I remember when I took this picture, I was feeling very dreadful because this was right before the exam season in May and June. But hard work pays off, and it's all smiles in the end on our faces because during graduation dinner, for example, I remember this because we're all very happy. This was Durham House, our house mistress, Miss Elvira, our house tutors, and the Durham members of the graduating cohort. And this was us as a cohort in Suffolk House that night. When I look back, it's very amazing to see how far everyone has come because they've all pretty much graduated. And I see many different people now. I see musicians, I see artists, I see scientists, and I see engineers, just to name a few. That's all except for three of us in this picture, because the three of us Singaporeans went back to Singapore to enlist in the army. So that's me with a shaved head, having my first lunch in the army. And it was 4 months of basic military training at the start. And at the end, I was very thin and very happy, as you can see on the left, when I tossed my cap as I graduated. After this, I went to a different school. It was a leadership school. And again, it was many months of trials and tribulations. But again, it was very fun, and I made many new friends. And again, I had the chance to also travel overseas. So, for example, I went to Brunei, as you can see in this picture. It was an eye-opening experience because things were very different there. When it's hot, it's really hot. And when it pours, it really pours. The terrain and elevation is also next level. And it was really interesting because, the sun sets around 6 p.m. And when you're in the jungle, if you put your hand in front of you, you wouldn't be able to see your hands at 6 p.m, which I didn't believe at first until I went there and tried it for myself. We also had the chance to travel to Thailand, and that's my friends and I again doing our R&R, very nice Thai street food. So after many months of training, this was our final mission. So I remember this very clearly because it was very, very fun. We took a chopper at about 10 p.m. and we landed, and we started our mission at about 1 a.m. in the morning. So it was a series of 2 missions back to back, and it ended at about 9 a.m. the next on that morning. And we were all very happy because in this picture, in these 2 slides, this was our final mission in the course, after which we commissioned, and I was given the chance to become a platoon commander in an operational unit in the army. So that's my colleagues and I during one of our conducts that we were hosting. And that's me earlier this year. This was my final day in service on the 12th of March 2021. I look very stern, but I was very happy inside because I knew that I was going to university right after. So this is where I'm at now. So it's my room on the left, and I live on campus as well. And as a result, I draw many parallels. When I was a boarder versus right now, because I took away a lot of things as a boarder, and very applicable now includes self-discipline and independence, because there's a lot of freedom and flexibility on your end right now, on my end right now. And to add on top of that, there's no teachers or staff members bugging you, reminding you to submit your homeworks. There's no one giving you detention during lunchtime anymore. So you gotta know your priorities. You gotta have really good time management, which are things that I've learned as a boarder in POWIIS. And during my free time, I cook, I sail, I run, I go out with my friends. So the point that I'm trying to make here then is that yes, your academics, it's important, but don't make it everything. Don't stress yourself out too much, and don't place an obscene amount of pressure on yourself. And I find that many people view their self-worth as reflection of their grades and what they get when the results come out. Please don't do that, because at the end of the day, there are many, many different things which are more important or as equally important apart from your grades. And if you can't tell what I'm trying to drive and bring across to you yet, well, it's this: pursue your interests and passions in POWIIS. The school gives you a lot of different opportunities and platforms to improve yourself holistically. So really, it's not just about exams and papers and mugging for good grades. Seize the chances that the school gives you and take on different roles. For example, prefects or house captains, because it will really help you a lot. But most importantly, I'd say cherish the time you have with your friends and teachers, because these connections, they are lifelong. When I travel back to Malaysia or when my friends come to Singapore, I try my best to meet up with them. Yes, I do have many new friends now in university and in army, but the friends that you make, that I've made in POWIIS, they are lifelong friends. And so while you still can, cherish the time you have with them and your teachers, because these connections, they are priceless. So I hope that by now you've taken away that what I'm trying to drive across to you. Pursue your interests and passions. Seize the opportunities that are given to you. Grow holistically as a person. Don't just focus on exams and grades, but most importantly, enjoy and form many new connections with your friends and your teachers.
Let's welcome Mike Lim as our very first guest for the Tuesday Lunchtime Talk series. Mike, really, really good to have you here. And I have a couple of questions here, mainly from the school community, from students and staff. And there are 3 of them here. So hopefully you can share your story through the questions. The first question is how your experience in POWIIS did shape you as a person.
Wow. Well, in POWIIS throughout the years, I was given, many other students alike were given platforms and opportunities to take on different roles and positions, and this allowed us to think and work outside the usual academic curriculum. So you had all these extracurricular activities with the guidance of our staff, and this allowed us to grow holistically as people. And for me personally, I became more comfortable with taking on different leadership roles after life in POWIIS and beyond. So that really impacted my life in a positive way.
What are the leadership roles that you took while you were in POWIIS?
In POWIIS, well, I was given the privilege to become a prefect and a house captain. Additionally, I was also fortunate enough to become the head boy for our boarding house for the guys. Yeah, so those are some different roles that I took in POWIIS.
So I remember that you came to POWIIS to give a talk during one of the assembly. That is why I have a very good memories about the talk. and would like you to share with the school committee as well about similar topic that you talked about during that assembly. How was your experience in the military like? This question is a little bit long, and the second part of the question is any military and what were the challenges that you faced in military training?
Well, so I was in the military for just over 2.5 years. I was an infantier and I was a platoon commander. My experience generally on the whole was very positive, although there were many challenges and problems that I had to deal with. At the start, from the get-go, I had to deal with a lot of homesickness, and it really affected me for the first few months of my entire experience. Although it got much better towards the first 6 months. So I'd say my challenges that I face they include two things. First of all, adaptability, and secondly, learning to become more people-oriented. So first of all, why adaptability? Well, it's because you find yourself frequently thrown in different situations where you just don't like it physically and mentally. You're tired, you're hungry, you're cold. And then circumstances change and you have to start thinking on the ball, think on your feet, and just direct change. So being adaptable and being calm under pressure, something that you force yourself to learn and improve on. It definitely takes a lot of time and experience, but that's one thing that I had to change about myself, becoming more adaptable. And also, secondly, I say people-oriented. Similarly, it's because when everyone is in a rather unpleasant environment and condition, things can get heated very fast. So you have to find a good compromise between maintaining a good communication style and at the same time making sure things stay productive and things are moving. So it's actually a very fine line, and fine-tuning the way you talk to different people who have different personalities is also a skill. And any notable experiences, like I mentioned in the video, I had the chance to go to Brunei for training, and I remember there was this one evening where we were lost in the jungle, and we had maps and compasses. So we had to reach a checkpoint by a certain timing, and we actually realized that as we compared our map and the features around us, we were completely lost, and we had no idea where we were. Our plotting and our charting just went way off. And the thing is, you have no GPS whatsoever. You do have one, but it's sealed, and you're not supposed to use it unless it's an emergency. And the entire point of this exercise was to build up our navigational confidence. So we just took like a 15-minute break, and we just sat in a circle, and we were like, we were prepared. We were mentally prepared, emotionally ready to not go back to Singapore. And we told ourselves, you know what? I think it's fine. We have had a good life. If you don't get to see our families again, it's fine. We were just that demoralized, And of course, we made it in the end, but that was definitely a rather scary but fun experience. Yeah, that I took away.
Did you get like GPS machine at the time?
Yeah, well, we had one, but it was sealed in the bag. So there was one per team, but it was sealed and signed. So if you broke the seal, we would know. So you weren't supposed to use the seal unless it was life-threatening, and you had to medically evacuate yourself or your teammate as fast as possible. But otherwise, you're not supposed to use it. No, you just relied on maps and compasses and markers. Yeah.
How did you at the end solve the situation where you found the way out?
Right. Okay. So we were stuck at the bottom of this stream. But the thing is, the problem was that the map was outdated. Because the thing about maps is that not all the features are necessarily drawn on the map, especially if your canopy is really high and the satellites can't capture what's on the ground. So we just took a break. Some of us just filled water bottles and just inserted the chlorine pills, and the others, they put the bags down, they went out and they just surveyed the area and compared to it on the map. And we saw, okay, where, based on what we see and based on what's on the map, where are we now most likely? And eventually we found a way out. Although it involved a lot of bashing, a lot of chopping down trees to like clear the area. But in the end, we made it out after a few hours. The whole thing was a 2-day, 1-night exercise, but it was rather torturous.
Well, it sounds like really, really unforgettable experience, right? So the last questions would be, what were your best experiences in POWIIS? I think a lot of students, especially mainly the sixth formers here, would really, really want to know that are there any advice that you can give it to our students at POWIIS?
Okay. Believe it or not, many of my friends and myself, we reminisce POWIIS a lot. I do that a lot. I look back at my pictures and I think about the times that I had there. And I've come to realize that there's no one big or happiest event that's happened. Instead, it's really just a collection of all those small moments that go unnoticed in everyday life. And this could be just walking to lunch, grab a meal with your friends and just sitting down having a nice conversation. It could be showing love and hugs to your friends right before winter or summer breaks, when you guys aren't going to see each other for months. Or maybe in a boarding house, it could just be you going over to your friend's house, room, and just spending time together, playing the PS4, for example. So it's just all these little moments that add up, and these are the ones that you really look back on after you leave. Yeah. And if there's any advice I could give, first of all, enjoy your time in POWIIS, really, because it passes really fast. I still remember fresh in my memories when I was still a student there, and it's been over 3 years since I graduated. And also, secondly, be prepared and know what you want to do in university so you can plan ahead. Even for people who are not A-level students right now, if you're listening to this and you intend to take on A-levels and higher education, plan ahead. See what subjects you need to take, what you need to learn. And when you're applying to university, just remember all these considerations in mind: fees, location, accommodation, all these things. So there's no such thing as planning too early or too little. In fact, if you plan even better, things will most likely be more smooth sailing as you graduate and leave. Yeah. So enjoy your time there. Work hard, play hard, and plan ahead. Yeah, that's all I'll say.
Although you graduated from POWIIS, but still part of family, so you can come back anytime.
Thank you.
I wish that we have longer time to share your experiences. It has been really, really good pleasure to have you here, especially as our first guest for Tuesday Lunchtime Talk, TLT. And thank you so much for your time. All the very best to your university study, and keep in touch. And most importantly, take care.
Thank
Okay, I'll see you, Mike.
Thank you. Bye bye.